tide gauge data from Kauai, Hawaii. And what's important is you see these oscillations going up and down. And this was the first wave about 2 feet high, and then it withdrew down to another 2.5 feet this direction. And then it oscillated back up another 2 feet, and then back down 2 feet, and back and forth. But what's important for you to note about this oscillation is that within 1 hour, there were 4 waves. Within 1 hour, there were 4 distinct waves. And that's what's going to happen on the Washington coastline. When the first wave arrives, that will just be the beginning of a series of waves. And we would expect that these oscillations will continue for several hours. So it's not like 1.1 foot wave will arrive and that's it. There'll be a series of 1.1 foot waves that will continue to interact with our coastline for several hours after 7:30 this morning.
Doctor, I have a question about some of the incredible video that we've seen out of Japan about the center of the quake and the 23-foot wave that was initially reported. Would they also have seen a series of these enormous waves after that initial 23-foot wave?
Well, in the case of being very close to the source, oftentimes the first wave is the largest, but it is followed by other waves, and right now Japan's measurement system has been exceeded. These waves actually maxed out the measurement capability, so we don't know exactly how tall or how high these waves actually were in Japan. But you can see from the extensive flooding inland that these had to be on the order of 20 feet or more. But one thing I think is important that your viewing audience should realize about watching these videos is that you'll see a lot of cars floating around, you'll see ships floating around, and that's one of the aspects of this tsunami problem, is that once you engulf these floating objects like an automobile and a ship, they become battering rams, and they can destroy the buildings around the city or in the port. And so it's not just the water that does the damage, it's the things that the water picks up along the way. So keep in mind that there's a series of waves, multiple waves, and as these waves pick up objects, those objects become battering rams, so that the second and third wave may be much more dangerous than the first wave. So keep in mind, it's not one wave, but multiple waves, and also keep in mind that what's in the water can harm you very much. So you do not want to be swept away by a tsunami, because the water may not kill you, but the automobile